Hey there, philosophy fans! Welcome back to another deep dive into the fascinating world of ancient thought. Today, we're diving into the wild and wonderful world of the logos, a concept that has intrigued thinkers for centuries. Now, logos is one of those Greek words that gets thrown around a lot, and it can mean a bunch of different things. Word, speech, reason, principle, even plan. It's a term that's as versatile as it is profound. But fear not, because we're going to break it down and trace its evolution through the history of Western thought. From its early beginnings to its lasting impact, we'll explore how this concept has shaped our understanding of the world. Our journey begins with Heraclitus, a pre-Socratic philosopher who was about as cheerful as a rainy day in Athens. Known for his enigmatic sayings and profound insights, Heraclitus has left a lasting mark on philosophy. This dude was famous for saying, "Everything changes and you can't step in the same river twice." Deep, right? His words capture the essence of his philosophy, emphasizing the constant state of change in the universe. Heraclitus believed that the universe was in a constant state of flux, like a flickering flame. To him, change was the only constant, and everything was in perpetual motion. And what held this ever-changing cosmos together? You guessed it, the logos. This principle was the glue that kept the universe from descending into chaos. For Heraclitus, the logos was like a universal principle of reason or order that governed all things. It was the rational structure underlying the apparent disorder of the world. It was the hidden harmony behind the apparent chaos of the world. This idea of a hidden order has influenced countless thinkers and continues to resonate today. Imagine it like the code behind a computer program, keeping everything running smoothly even though we can't see it. Just as code dictates the function of software, the logos dictates the function of the universe. But there's a catch. Heraclitus, being Heraclitus, was deliberately obscure in his writings. His cryptic style has puzzled scholars for centuries. So, figuring out exactly what he meant by logos is like trying to nail jelly to a wall, tricky, to say the least. Yet, this very complexity is what makes his work so intriguing and endlessly fascinating. If you enjoyed this dive into Heraclitus and the logos, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kelvin JC. Follow my Facebook page, Kelvin Jossi Stories. And don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment below. Your support helps keep these philosophical explorations going. Next up, we've got Aristotle, the OG logician, the grandmaster of ancient philosophy, and arguably the most influential philosopher of all time, whose ideas have shaped centuries of thought. Now, Aristotle wasn't so keen on Heraclitus's whole everything is constantly changing vibe. He had a different take on the cosmos. He thought the universe was pretty darn orderly, thank you very much. To him, there was a grand design behind it all. Aristotle believed that everything in the universe had a specific purpose or function, a reason for being. Think of it like this. An acorn's purpose is to become an oak tree, fulfilling its potential. A knife's purpose is to cut, and so on. Each thing has its own role to play in the grand scheme. Aristotle called this inherent purpose of things their telos, a term that means end or goal. So where does the logos fit into all of this? How does it connect to Aristotle's vision? Well, for Aristotle, the logos was more about language and logic, the tools we use to make sense of the world. He saw it as the power of human reason to understand the world around us, to uncover the truths hidden in nature. It was through language and logic that we could discover the inherent order and purpose of things, revealing the cosmos' true nature. Now let's fast forward a few centuries to the Stoics, a group of philosophers who were all about keeping calm and carrying on. The Stoics took the idea of the logos and gave it a more spiritual twist. They believed that the logos wasn't just some abstract principle, it was an active divine force that permeated the entire universe. Imagine it like a giant cosmic web, connecting everything and everything together. For the Stoics, living in accordance with the logos meant accepting whatever life throws your way with courage and tranquility. It was about recognizing that even though we're just tiny parts of a much larger whole, we still have the power to live virtuous and meaningful lives. As the Roman Empire crumbled and Christianity rose to prominence, a profound transformation began to take shape in the hearts and minds of people. The concept of the logos, which had its roots in ancient Greek philosophy, took on a whole new meaning. In the Gospel of John, it's written, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." This passage became a cornerstone for medieval philosophers, especially those working within the Christian tradition. They latched onto this passage like a life raft, seeing it as irrefutable proof that the Logos, the divine principle of reason and order, was none other than Jesus Christ himself. This interpretation was revolutionary. Thinkers like Augustine of Hippo argued that God created the universe through the Logos, his divine word. This meant that the universe wasn't just some random collection of stuff. It was an expression of God's will and purpose. Every star, every tree, every living creature was a testament to divine intention. By studying the natural world, medieval scholars believed they could uncover the very thoughts of God. This was not merely an academic exercise, it was a spiritual quest. They saw the universe as a grand, divine manuscript, written by the hand of God himself. By observing nature and its intricate designs, they hoped to gain insights into the mind of God, bridging the gap between the divine and the earthly. Section 5. Renaissance and Enlightenment. Reason rises again. Fast forward a few more centuries, and we find ourselves in the midst of the Renaissance, a period of incredible intellectual and artistic flourishing. People were rediscovering the classics, questioning traditional authority, and generally feeling pretty good about the power of human reason. The Enlightenment, which followed hot on the heels of the Renaissance, doubled down on this emphasis on reason. Thinkers like John Locke and Isaac Newton were making groundbreaking discoveries in science and politics, and they believed that human reason could solve any problem and answer any question. During this time, the concept of the Logos took on a more secular, humanistic flavor. It was no longer seen as primarily a religious idea, but as a testament to the power of human thought and creativity. Section 6. Kant and Hegel ideas shape reality. Now let's jump into the 18th and 19th centuries, where we meet two philosophical heavyweights, Immanuel Kant and Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. These guys were all about how our minds shape our perception of reality. Kant argued that we don't experience the world directly, but rather through the lens of our own categories of understanding. These categories, like space, time, and causality, are like the software our minds use to make sense of the raw data of experience. Hegel took this idea even further, arguing that history itself was driven by the evolution of human consciousness. He believed that the Logos was constantly unfolding throughout history, moving towards a state of perfect self-awareness and freedom. Section 7. Rorty and the End of Logos. Now let's fast forward to the 20th century, where we encounter philosophers like Richard Rorty, who were a bit more skeptical of the whole Logos shebang. Rorty argued that the search for a universal, objective truth was a fool's errand. He believed that all knowledge is ultimately contingent, that is, dependent on our particular language, culture, and historical context. For Rorty, there was no grand narrative, no ultimate purpose or meaning to life. Section 8. The Logos in the 21st century. A concept in flux. So where does this leave us today? In the 21st century, the concept of the Logos is still very much alive, but it's also more complex and contested than ever before. Some philosophers are returning to the Stoic idea of the Logos as a source of ethical guidance in a chaotic world. Others are exploring the connections between the Logos and contemporary scientific theories like complexity theory and emergence. Section 9. The enduring influence of the Logos. Despite its changing meanings over the centuries, the concept of the Logos has had a profound and lasting impact on Western thought. It's influenced everything from our understanding of language and logic to our conceptions of God, the universe, and our place in it. The Logos reminds us that there's an inherent order and intelligibility to the universe, even if it's not always immediately apparent. And it suggests that we, as human beings, have a special capacity to understand and participate in this order through reason, language, and creativity. Section 10. Beyond words, the Logos in art and science. The influence of the Logos extends far beyond the realm of philosophy. We can see its traces in art, music, literature, and even science. For example, the intricate harmonies of Bach's fugues or the elegant equations of Einstein's theory of relativity can be seen as expressions of the Logos, attempts to capture the underlying order and beauty of the cosmos. Section 11. Conclusion. The Logos and the search for meaning. So, there you have it. A whirlwind tour through the evolution of the Logos from ancient Greece to the present day. It's a concept that's been debated, reinterpreted, and reinvented countless times, and its meaning continues to evolve as we grapple with the big questions about our universe and ourselves. The Logos may not offer any easy answers, but it provides a powerful framework for understanding the world around us and our place within it. And ultimately, that's what philosophy is all about, asking the big questions, even if the answers remain forever elusive.